What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's been a while since we did a Reddit video. There's some interesting stories on Reddit, obviously sourcing you to other websites. So a website called Geeks Worldwide is apparently having a worldwide exclusive. John Krasinski recently met with Marvel. Now, I haven't actually read this article before I go into it. So because of what's going on in the world, he's probably going to say in this article that they virtually met on something like Zoom, because I don't think Marvel Studios is working except for working from remotely at home. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any videos that the one who subscribe Michael will be giving away something pretty damn cool. So make sure to turn notifications on. So let's read this exclusive. Marvel hasn't shut down due to, can't say that word. The studio has been taking virtual meetings with various actors and writers and directors over the past few weeks. One of them is none other than John Krasinski, the guy behind The Quiet Place 1. Now, what is interesting here is I can see where people will go with this. They will go, oh my God, he's going to be Mr. Fantastic. Well, spoilers, he could have been Captain America, but he didn't get the role. The role went to Chris Evans. So, exclusive. He met with Marvel Studios. Now, this is kind of funny in a way, because he literally said a few weeks ago he would love to work with Marvel and Kevin Feige and the guys over at Marvel in some capacities. So you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. Actor says he wants to work with studio. A few weeks later, we've got some exclusivity here. Now, I'm not questioning this website, but what I do question is the fact that there's no real evidence that he did meet them. Now, what is interesting is he's married to Emily Blunt in real life, and she had a meeting with Marvel a few months back now. So does that mean that she's going to be Susie Storm or Susan Storm, and he's going to be Mr. Fantastic, and then we're going to get the absolute fan cast of a dream that everyone has wanted? So obviously Marvel do have a lot of movies and a lot of Disney Plus stuff coming up. Obviously Marvel's owned by Disney, so when you talk about Marvel, you're talking about a Disney essentially. So virtual meetings with actors, writers and directors. Mr. Krasinski himself is a director and a writer, so this doesn't really mean that this is to do with Mr. Fantastic. He goes on to say, Krasinski and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige have both said they'd love to work together. So has Keanu Reeves, and nothing's really happened about that. It seems they're now closer to making this happen than ever before. While I'm not sure of what the role he'd like to take in the MCU, whether it be a director, writer, or role, I don't know what they discussed. Well, if you don't know what they discussed, then it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? As far as I'm aware, this is one of the first times they've formally met, even though he nearly got the Chris Evans Captain America role, so it can't be, because he was close to getting the Captain America role previously. But Krasinski is not currently in talks for any MCU projects. Okay, you don't know that. And then it goes on to say, a few weeks ago I mentioned on my Twitter that Marvel was starting to take meetings with writers for Young Avengers. Obviously, we know Young Avengers is coming at some point. Last week, I got definitive confirmation that the project has entered the phase of development. And now, while it's unlikely, it isn't impossible that Krasinski discussed this during their meeting. It's still unclear if Young Avengers would be Disney Plus series or if a movie, but Krasinski fits the project for a couple of reasons. His directorial features A Quiet Place 1 and 2. Freaking awesome. I was going to see that before it got cancelled because of you knew what. And then it goes on to say both feature heavy sci-fi elements and kids as lead characters. Not only that, but it's hard to see Krasinski as Kang the Conqueror, an older version of Iron Lad and Young Avengers. Then it says the real Young Avengers first villain. Another possibility is the Fantastic Four, and you don't really need to talk about that because absolutely everyone says that. So at San Diego Comic-Con, they did say that they want to bring Marvel's first family, but they also revealed Blade Mahershala Ali, and realistically, there's been no release date. So this is a pretty interesting article that I found on Reddit, but credit to Geeks Worldwide. So let's go over some more Reddit posts. So there's another Reddit post that I scrolled on before, and this one it's kind of funny, kind of interesting. So it's to do with SpiderMan 3. It's going to be shooting. They're going to start shooting July the 13th, 2020 to October 30th, 2020, which is one day before my birthday, Halloween. So apparently they're going to be shooting Atlanta, GA, United States, New York, United States, LA, United States, Iceland, which is pretty cool. So what is interesting about that is, yeah, that's not happening. That really isn't going to happen, guys, because of the following. If you don't know, I guess he's an insider. He's called Christopher Marcus, and he writes for a bunch of stuff. He's got his own work, and he put a recent tweet. And he says 4,500 Americans died yesterday. And if you actually think they're going to rush films, TV productions anytime soon, you're out. Yep. In mind. So yeah, it's pretty much the same here in England. So July, so we've got the rest of April. We're basically in May now. It's halfway into the month, so May, June. I don't really think they're gonna be able to meet the mandate. Now, I did see a load of Spider-Man 3 breaking news stuff. I was sent it on Instagram on the DMs, and yeah, I presume it's on about this. So this is the original plan. I don't know why this recently came out, because this is pretty much the plan they had to start off with. And then there's a similar one for She-Hulk, the 6th of July, filming in Atlanta, GA, United States. Same thing. I don't really think they're going to be shooting anything until at least August. I really don't think that is the case. So there's also another one that is hitting the ground about Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon, who, to be fair to him, he is behind some of the original Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. So he has done good stuff. Buffy, done some good stuff. But what is interesting is I think people would take this out of context. So what happened is John Cambino, who has done a lot of stuff in the past. I think was he behind Collider or something like that. So the rumor is basically a YouTuber called John Cambino. He is a YouTuber, whether you want to call him anything else. His platform is YouTube. He streams on YouTube. He's a YouTuber. Doesn't matter if people call him an insider. He's a YouTuber just like me. So it said this has been told a source had conversations between Joss Whedon and Marvel Studios have occurred in the past 2 months involving Marvel Cinematic Universe take on Fantastic Four. Cambino admitted that he was unsure if these conversations with Whedon were casual brainstorming sessions or if they were more serious about directing or writing a project. So realistically, there's nothing behind that. Just someone heard something, could be true, might not be true. Earlier on in Joss Whedon's career with Kevin Feige, according to John Cambino's video, I did watch it because I wanted to cross-reference it. He implied that early on Joss Whedon was very important to the earlier Marvel movies, which is quite evident. So yeah, I'm guessing he could do it, but I would prefer someone like Peyton Reed to take over. I think that would be pretty cool. Realistically, it doesn't really matter who directs the Fantastic Four. They can't do as worse job as what the last iteration of it could be. So it is interesting why all this information is coming out about, obviously, John Krasinski being Mr. Fantastic, Emily Blunt meeting with Marvel, but I have it on good record that it's nothing to do with the Fantastic Four. So it is pretty interesting, but I don't really think they need to go with someone with a track record, because what happens at Marvel is if you're a Marvel director, then you've got no creativity anyway. So it doesn't really matter who directs Marvel movies, and that might seem like I'm kind of coming at them, but it's just evident that you don't really have creative freedom. You've just got to look at the most recent movies like Star Wars, Rise of the Skywalker. Could have been so much better. I mean, they do some good movies, so it's evident that it doesn't really matter who directs these movies, but it would be interesting if you let me know down below who you think should direct the Fantastic Four movie. Is it going to be Joss Whedon? Is John Krasinski going to be Mr. Fantastic? Although there's not really any evidence mounting that he is, because he's like, yeah, sure, I'd do that. But if you ask any actor if they do any Marvel role, they would be like, yeah, sure, I'd do that. But then when they realise they're going to be locked into a 10-movie deal or something like that, they probably change their minds. So, also in the news, Sammy Raimi confirms he's directing Multiverse of the Madness and talks about Doctor Strange referencing Spider-Man 2. Has he actually confirmed it? I've seen this story going around for the last few days. I can't actually see him anywhere confirming it. So let's read this quote. I loved Doctor Strange as a kid, but he was always after Spider-Man and Batman for me. He was probably at number 5 for me of great comic book characters. Raimi described he was original, but when we had the moment in Spider-Man 2, I had no idea that we would ever be making a Doctor Strange movie. So it's really funny to me that lined up. I've got to say, I wish we had the foresight to know that I was going to be involved in the project. Now, I've done a bit of retcon and a bit of research, and although it looks like he's directing this movie, I wouldn't really say there's any concurrent evidence that, like, Marvel hasn't officially come out and said anything. I mean, there are websites insinuating it, like if you do a bit more digging. 2 days ago on TheWrap.com, Sammy Raimi officially, casually confirms he's directing Multiverse Into the Madness. Or does he? Let's actually read the direct quote. So it's the exact same quote that I just read a minute ago. So this article goes, so there you have it. As reported in February, Raimi is taking over Marvel's Doctor Strange series from Scott Derrickson, who stepped down in January, citing creative differences. Like I say, if you direct a Marvel movie, you don't have creative freedom, which is interesting seeing this is the same guy that did Spider-Man 2. And now people are going to jump to the conclusion that Tobey Maguire has to appear in this freaking movie. Although that would be pretty cool. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, it literally ruined his Hollywood acting career, and he did swear to never return to the comic book genre again. But like always, guys, money talks. It really does. So is Tobey Maguire going to appear in this now because Sammy Raimi is directing? I don't really see it is. I've been sent a bunch of articles, a bunch of people saying that Tobey Maguire has to appear in this movie, but I can't really see any factual evidence. Just because a director's linked to it, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? No. So we've gone over a bunch of stuff. There hasn't really been much to talk about this week. There was so much hype about Venom 2 trailer coming this week, and as we said a few days ago, saying all the images and all the stuff's fake, everything's fake to do with Venom 2. There is no official information. So there has been a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors, a lot of fake news going around the Marvel Cinematic Universe this week with news coming out which isn't really real, and then you've got other news coming out on the Reddit. I mean, Reddit's a good source for one sense because Reddit posts information from loads of different sources, and now you've got people talking about the Netflix, Daredevil can appear. So our good friend Jeremy Conrad had this to say, sounding like someone had an early homecoming than I expected. So I presume if I'm not okay, yeah, I'm not blocked anymore. So let's have a look. So it's just getting at that the fact that everyone was saying they can use Daredevil from November, but this hints that potentially Daredevil could return to Marvel sooner, but he didn't really go anywhere because although it was Marvel Netflix, Marvel still like produced them. Netflix just paid the money for them to do that. So it is pretty interesting. So no idea what I'm going to do with the title. It'll be something to do with what I said at the start of this video. So like always, guys, let me know everything you think. It's been a very quiet week this week. You've all been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake at home. Very quiet week, guys. So let me know everything you think down below. If there is some breaking Marvel news, breaking DC news, I will get on it straight away. But it is pretty hard to make Marvel-based content. I'm being transparent and honest with you guys. Except for going over We Got It Covered stuff and Reddit stuff, there isn't really much factual news out there. It is cool that Sammy Raimi is attached to Doctor Strange 2. He has done a lot of horror stuff, but you got to understand Doctor Strange 2 is still going to be a PG-13, so it can't be a full-on horror movie. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. I'll catch you in our next video very soon. Catch ya later.